Hey, what's up, dudes? My name is Peroz. Welcome back to more After Effects tutorials, and today we're going to be doing some more basic effects. And I know you guys are hanging out for like the slightly more advanced stuff, and we'll get there. I'll do these basic ones first, as some of these like effects will be like sort of a base or a part of to some of the advanced stuff that I'll go into later on in the week. So let's get into it. What are we going today? Left side guy, right side guy? What are we feeling? It's got to be the right side guy. Got to be the right side guy for today. Alright, so according to my list that I have here, the magical list, we'll be starting with optical flares, which is a bit of an interesting one because I don't quite consider that like basic. Also, really quick, I'm sorry if my camera like bugs out. It's been acting pretty funny recently, but yeah, that's fine. We're not here necessarily for my face anyway. So optical flares, you want to put these on a solid, and there used to be an argument back in the day in the like editing community, like what you would put the flares on. Some people put them on adjustment layers, and some people put them on solid layers. And I'm a solid layer guy when it comes to optical flares, so you know. Anyways, optical flares is a plugin. Join the Discord. And it's pretty much what it says it is. It is flares. Look, flare, boom, magic. So yeah, what have we got here? We don't play with much of this stuff yet. I will just put the render mode onto transparent. And there you go. So you've got our little flare guy here. Whoop, 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 whoop. And then we'll go options. And we'll get this little guy here, this little extra window here. And usually you'll only have light motion graphics and natural flares. You have to install Pro Presets 2 in 1, which I'm pretty sure is, just join the Discord. But yeah, you usually don't really want to go for like these natural ones. I mean, there's a couple like okay looking ones. Just really quickly, this optical flares does crash a lot, so if it crashes, just don't worry about it. Yeah, so we'll choose a random flare here. This one back in the day was like used by like everyone, so we'll go with this one. Just to keep it basic, I won't be making my own flares or showing you any of the like global parameters, but you can change like some of the shape, how big it is, just the way it works. And these are all like the lens objects down here. Right here you can add some of these lens objects, basic, custom, and you can make your own flares and do whatever. It can be quite fun just sitting here and making like a cool flare, but for tutorial stuff, we'll just go with this one. And I don't really have a good place to put this flare, per se. Usually would put it like on like a light like this maybe, and the color correction would help it sort of like blend in a little bit better. And then you would just like track it, like keyframe the position and go through it all. There is a tutorial on how to track flares really well. It's quite old, but I will link it in the description. And it is really good on how to track flares using like a null object and shit. It's a little bit advanced, that's why I won't go into it today, but check that out if you're struggling with like how to track things. So now I'll just go through this list here real quick. You got the position XY, which is obviously where the flare is. Alright, and then you have center position, which is like it fucks with all the extra shit on the flare, is the easiest way to say it. That's quite important to do this as well. As the clip moves along, obviously the stuff would move as well. You're seeing movies and shit. You know how it works. Then you got the brightness, which is obvious. Scale, pretty obvious. Rotation offset, it just will rotate it. The color, I don't really mess with the color. I usually come down here to flicker, and I'll put like the speed on like 20 and the amount on like 50, so it'll like flicker back and forth and shit. And that's about it for optical flares. I'm not gonna track this for you guys just because it would be a bit painful, but yeah, that's optical flares. Not bad, not bad. Alright, so now we are on to, I forgot how to pronounce this word. It's like Vignette. And there are BCC plugins and Sapphire plugins for this, but I usually just use the not plugin one. Most people should know what this is. Turn the amount up to 400. There you go, that's what that is. So sometimes when you're using this, you could keyframe the amount. Press U to open the keyframes and have it like, go up to like 300. few frames forward, turn it back to 0, and it just sort of something like that. But usually you could change the center position to center onto something you really want to focus on. Like if I wanted to focus on the gun, I would put it like that. Something not exactly like that, but you know, it helps whoever's watching focus on what you want them to focus on in a sense. Out of Order actually, and one of his tutorials explains this really well. Go check him out too. Yeah, so not bad, not bad. So if I wanted you to focus on, like, let's say we still had the flare on the lamp, I would get the dot, put it right there. Maybe something like that. I don't know. I don't know. Alright, on to the next one. We're just flying through these today, boy. So now we got warp, which is pretty sweet, pretty easy going. Used by like 90% of motherfuckers. And when you first drag it on, you're probably like, what the fuck is this? But you just got to go to warp style here, change it to fisheye, and then put the blend to 0. So usually I go to wherever he shoots, keyframe the blend on 0, go like 2 keyframes back, and I'll change this to like -30. You really don't want to go any more than -30 in my opinion. I know some people do go pretty crazy with this, but it's just like a little warp before the impact of the shot, which is kind of sweet. Yeah, this is not bad. You can definitely use this for other things. There's lots of other styles here, but most of the time I just use it for the fisheye effect, and I don't really use it in this sense where it goes like big and I don't know, not squishy but big. Yeah, I mostly just use it to sort of pull out the screen and go boing. And then I would usually combine this with optics, which is next on my list. Optics compensation. Both of these effects are not plugins, by the way. So optics is awesome. I've been using this like a lot, like not even like on shots, but just in like random spots and clips and stuff, and it's come out like really really nice. So you get this, and then you'll go reverse lens distortion, and we'll go like 2 keyframes back, and then we'll keyframe at 0, 2 keyframes forward, anywhere from like 50 to 75 to 100 and that sort of range. Depending on what you want it to look like. So I'll go 75, and I'll just bring it forward a little bit like this. And I personally really like this effect, like especially on like triples and stuff, and mixed with the warp, it just looks really good. I'd usually easy ease these and change like the curves a little bit so it acts the way I want it to. We'll show you guys what this looks like. I'll just make sure that the audio is turned down here. It is not. We will turn down this audio to like -10, and on this one -10. Alright, and we'll have a little looky here. I'll just put the render bars like here and here. Hope it doesn't take 10 years to RAM preview. Oh, it's gonna. Oh no. And that's sort of what it looks like. Sorry, that was still kind of like loud as balls. I do have you guys turned down for desktop audio, but I might turn that down a little bit, just in case I need to show you guys what's what again. But yeah, that's warp and optics. I usually do combine them, but also they're used for many of other things, as you'll see in the future. All right, now we're on to Skew. And Skew is part of the effect transform, which is, if you've watched my other tutorials, which you should have, go watch them. Transform is used for pan and crop, but the Skew effect I find like really good on particular like songs for, you know, because I mostly edit to like deathcore or metalcore or whatever. The Skew can actually work really well here. It could like bend out on the shot. So let me just, so Skew is right here, sorry, we'll keyframe right there, you know, underneath scale above Skew axis. You can actually do a lot with this. So if I go back 2 frames, something like this, let me zoom in. We'll focus on just this little part here. We change this to like 5, it'll skew this way. Change it to like -5, it'll skew that way. And obviously when you get black bars like this, you have to drag on motion tile. And go mirror edges, 200, 200. I did talk about motion tile in my previous tutorial, but we'll talk about it here. So motion tile basically just reflects the edges where there would usually be black. So turn it off, there's black. Turn it on and it reflects. So what you want to do is you just want to drag this on, make sure it's on top of whatever. It usually will affect everything underneath it and the timeline as well. And you just put the output width and height onto like 200, depending on how much black you have. I usually just go 200. And then take mirror edges and you'll get this instead of the black. So this is not a great example of how skew would work, but if you go watch my some of my edits, it's quite subtle, but it does do a lot. So I'd use something like that. It would be something like this. You maybe like stretch it this way on the bolt so it looks, you know, sort of certain with the bolt here, like, alright, and then it goes back to normal. Yeah, no, so skew is great. Definitely get some skew in your life, man. I'm just gonna leave motion tile at the top there, just in case we need it again. Thank you for saving After Effects. Thank you. So this one I call the Skeriiz effect, and it's because it is an effect he used a lot, but he would use BCC Colorize because he's from Sony Vegas. He uses Sony Vegas. I won't show you BCC Colorize today, but you can basically select a bunch of different parts of the thing and it will change the color to that. But I'm going to show you like my version of it. You'll see exactly what I mean. So if we go Tritone, I'm pretty sure you can use sorry, you can't see. Oh wait, yes you can. I wouldn't use the built-in Tritone. I would use the BCC Tritone. All right. And we drag that on, you're probably like, what the fuck? So I'm going to change the midpoint color to red. Alright, and you're still probably like, what the fuck? And then I'm going to go Luma Inverse. Look at that, very nice. And then if we go to our blending mode here, and I think it is lighter color. And then we need to change something else here because this is still fucking wrong. What do we got here? Alright, well, I don't actually quite remember how I did this. I can't lie to you guys, but I do have a preset for it. So let me just go ahead and put that on, because this is how I usually do it. And I've literally called it the Skeriiz like effect. Yeah, this one. And there we go. So let me tell you these settings. So we've got black color, black, midpoint color tick, midpoint color black, white color red, and then we have Luma Inverse, RGB, repeats 1, and repeat mode black, back and forth. So you can instantly tell what this is and why I called it the Skeriiz effect, because when he was moving up in the world, in the community, this was an effect he would use like all the time. And you can just, like, I would usually just chop and then go like 2 frames forward and then chop, and then I would delete these. I'm just going to leave them here, and I would just have the red pop up on the shot, something like that. And you can change the amount of red with the midpoint here. Make it like, pretty sure it's making it more. The higher the number, the less. It's just obviously on a black scope right now, so it's not like the best example. Let me just stick these back together. Oh, I went too far back. Fuck me, dude. Alright. So, yeah, midpoint, higher number, less red, lower the number, more red. And because it's on the lighter color layer, it will only affect the lighter colors, like the white. So if we change this to like multiply, it'll change, and then we can, you know, obviously change some values here. But that's what I use that for the most part. After, like, you know, the glow scan effect they're talking about in the last video, you go bang on the shot with just like 2 frames of this, 2 or 3 frames of this, and mint. Nice. Alright, we'll carry on after that tragic explanation from me with something sort of similar. So we can go Invert, and this is not a plugin, though you can use Sapphire Invert. And Invert, you'll know exactly what it is when you see it. It's like the Invert. Everyone's played with this before. I usually change this to lightness or luminance, depending on what tickles your pickle. And I'll just use this on like the shot for like impact. So if we go, maybe I'll go 3 frames, and when the shot happens, it'll just go bang. It'll just be like kind of bright. Usually I would use this on quite like hardcore edits, like quite heavy. And it's just like a nice little thing. I know it's only for 3 frames, but trust me, you'll be able to tell. I haven't used this for a while. I'm sorry, I'll stop doing that. The flashing is killing me. I don't know about you. But yeah, that's pretty good. It does add impact, and I know it's only for 3 or 2 frames, but trust me, it'll still work really well. Let me just Control Z all this back to normal. Get rid of that. All right. Next we have BCC film damage, which is pretty sweet actually. Film damage, which is a BCC plugin. Join the Discord. So what is film damage? Film damage is literally like film damage, and it just adds like a sort of like an old-timey look to it. I'll show you the way that I use it, but you can use this to get whatever sort of old film look that you'd really want. Like even like just the basic is like pretty decent. I can't lie. This looks pretty cool already. So we've got color. I usually change the tint to like white, or change the saturation down to like be a bit more washed out, but black and white kind of look. I don't usually use flicker or shake. Grain, I usually just leave grain on the red amount because it looks the best in my opinion, but you can play with all of this. Dirt. So dirt is, let me see if I can find a frame where the dirt shows up. You see this little blob right here? This little blob right here, this is the dirt. And I would usually try to make this like solid. So the density is like how much of it is on the screen at once. The random seed is obviously just randomizing it a little bit. The dirt min radius is how small it goes, or the max radius is how big it goes. And the complexity is how complex the dirt is. You can see it's changing a little bit there. I usually just sort of leave this on default, or maybe like quite low, so it's not like super complex. And the dirt gradient, I think I put this on 0. I put it on 0, I put it on 100. Because I usually like to make these just black, so we'll change the color here by clicking here. And I usually make these like black. I don't know why the fuck it went to that color. Yeah, I don't know why it's that color. Maybe it's something to do with the thingamajig up top there. Oh, it's because it's on lighter color layer. There we go. There we go. See now that they're black. There we go. Yeah. That's about it really. On the dirt anyway. The hair is like you see that little scratch right here on the left of this guy. I'll see if I can make it thicker real quick, just so you guys can see them. Oh geez, not that thick. Goddamn, that's thick as fucking fuck. So I usually put the hair thickness up like a little bit. Let me try to find like a better like hair. There you go. It's like a little scratch, literally like a hair. You don't want these to be too thick. And hair density is obviously how much. Random seed is, it randomizes the hair thickness. It's how thick it is. The length and the width is obvious, so we can change that down, change it up a little bit. But yeah, I think I would usually turn the thickness up. I mean, the thickness looks okay. Maybe I just turn the density up. I know I changed something on this. But it's all pretty self-explanatory if you just like read. Full stop. If you just like read what's there, it's good. But the scratches are important as well, because I think most people just use this just for the scratches. So I usually make both the scratch colors black, and I will make them like a little bit thicker. We'll go like 1.25. Scratch density will make it like 3 maybe. And we got like the scratch speed somewhere. There it is. Maybe that's like 2 maybe. And yeah, that's how I get my my kind of BCC look. This is what I personally kind of like. Maybe a little bit too much dirt and like hair all over, but that's pretty much film damage for you. It's not bad. It's not bad. This is a good effect. You can use it when the song sort of calms down and has like that high-low pass kind of sound going on it. Now we're on to rays. All of the effects left are ray effects. So all of these are plugins. So S-rays, just type rays and scroll down. So we got S-rays, which I have talked about before in one of my other videos, but we'll talk about it again. So rays is loading. All right, there we go. Rays is pretty obvious what this is. It just makes rays on like the luminance or like the white of your comp or your clip or whatever. I would usually put this on like a sky bit if we can like see like a, I don't know, yeah, maybe like over here is good, and we'll just put it there like that, and I would maybe like copy or like just mask a little chunk out here. But yeah, we've got a little picture here. This is where I usually would put it, and we can turn the rays up. And look at them God rays coming through the trees. That's beautiful. Let's put this on full, see what happens. Oh, look at that. Oh, amazing. So reverse rays, no idea what that does. I assume it would reverse the rays, but yeah, never needed to play with it. And you've got the color and the brightness. So I usually just leave it on like white, maybe with like a small tint like this. Maybe we can make it like a little orange. Oh, look at that. That's kind of hot. And then you've got these effects, which you want to focus on more. So you've got the shimmer, which is like how many rays, I guess, or like how strong the rays are. So shimmer amp, shimmer frequency is the frequency of it. So you could even animate this so it does this kind of shit. So I think this is like maybe like the amount of rays. So if I turn this all the way down, it gets like kind of thicker. But we'll leave this just on default, and I'll put the shimmer back onto default. There we go. So usually, personally, for me, I don't mess with the shimmer stuff too much. I like to mess with the atmosphere, especially if I'm like masking a gun and having the rays on the gun. The atmosphere can do some pretty sweet stuff. If we turn up the amp here, you'll see it adds sort of like more of like a, almost like a dusty kind of look, like lots of dust in the air. You can see it like right there on the left there. And if you change the frequency, which is what I usually animate, obviously it's affecting the whole screen because I didn't mask this little bit out here, which I usually would do. It's kind of like noise, but we'll move that back. Maybe we can have it like something like, because I want to keep this very bright. Something like that. Maybe change the amp to like 2, maybe 3. Because it does look nice. It sort of softens it up and adds like, there's a bit of dust in the air, which looks pretty sweet. That's how I would use it anyway. Obviously, if I move this, it's not going to look great because it's not tracked. But yeah, look at that. That looks pretty sweet. I like how it even, it recognizes that that we're focused on the bright bit still, and sort of cuts off this little wooden pole here. Yeah, it's kind of sweet. But yeah, a little effect like that can definitely change and edit quite a lot. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting a little bit lost. I'm trailing off a little bit. So next we have S-Ray's brother, Edge Rays. No edging jokes, please. Which is literally what it says it is. It puts rays on like all the fucking edges. And sometimes if you put S-Rays on something and it's not working, S-Rays is like, nah, I don't like this. You just put on edge rays, and edge rays will always have your back. I personally don't think it's good for like what we were showing before, clearly, I usually use this for like gun masking. I don't really use this for much else than that. So we can turn up these rays here, see what we can do. Probably nothing, to be honest. It's a very, very intense effect. Let me turn up the atmosphere a little bit. It's all pretty much the same sort of controls here. Once if we change the color, ooh, stuff. So you could probably do some cool shit with this. It definitely looks a lot better when you change the color. It is quite CPU heavy or graphics intensive. But yeah, that's that. That's pretty cool. And now we're going on to another effect that I know Skeriiz likes. The old BCC god here. BCC Rays Wedge, which is how he always got the nice looking rays. So obviously right now it looks like dog shit. So I actually don't use this too often. I think we want to go from 2 so we can change the actual angle of it. And if we go from, we'll whip this around like this, and then we'll whip this end around like this. If it would like to move, it'd be something like this, and maybe we drag it up like this, something like that maybe. Then obviously we have the intensity. I can maybe change that to like 100, get a little bit lower. Wedge softness, the softness of like the rays, we can make that not so soft maybe. This is quite intensive too. It's fucking my shit up right now. Raise length. Once we put that on 50. Oh, look at that. It's a little bit better. But we'll leave it on what it was before. So now we have the color preset. Or if we go up here, the custom look, we can change all of that. Also, the ray style, detailed or fat. Fat will obviously be wider rays. And the look, we can change it to extended 1, which extends the rays quite a lot. Or tight, which tightens it back in, which will probably be not what we want, apparently. Fuck. Tight and extended. Ooh, a little bit of best of both worlds. Tight bloom. I kind of like tight bloom. Can we just go extended bloom, dude? Or yuck. Okay, no, we're just going to use default. So I don't actually use this too much. I know that quite a lot of other people have used this though. So we can change the color preset to something. We can go like reds, something like that. Maybe we can change some of these reds to be a little bit more red. Just go like this. Oh, look at that. Yeah, there we go. It's a little bit more of like the Skeriiz look right there. Yeah, that's that. You would obviously keyframe that shit. I think this one is a bit harder to use, but I definitely think it is it's worth learning this effect a bit more, which I will eat my own words. I will learn this effect a bit more and use it a bit more, because like this frame right here looks really, really nice. And if we could just like animate this a little bit, it would look pretty good. So obviously you got the color 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see, where is it? Where was it? How this is sort of like a dulled ready pink. It's because this will be color 5, I believe. So if I change that to like a dark red, there you go. Or you could even turn this one off. I did not like that. Is it loading? It's loading. It's dying. Turn these off maybe. It's trying to load and it is dying. All right, there we go. Okay. Yeah. So obviously I don't know as much as I should about this effect to be doing this tutorial, but that's fine. Now you know it exists. And that was the last one. The last basic bitch effect on this tutorial. If you guys haven't seen my recent upload of a montage I did for a buddy on Black Ops 6, make sure you go watch that, because I use all of these effects you've seen in these tutorials in that montage, and you'll be able to pick them out hopefully and see how I actually use them, which would be pretty sweet. So on the next tutorial, next Friday, we got just a small handful of intense things. I feel like these more intense effects will take a while to actually explain and stuff. Let me go big me. Hopefully my camera didn't bug out this episode. I haven't been looking at my second screen. Yeah, I thank you guys for coming and watching and sitting and learning with me. I appreciate all the love these get, as always. So many people joining the Discord, getting the goods in there. I love to see it, and I love to hear from you guys. Show me what you've been doing. Show me what you've been making. And I guess I'll just see you next Friday. Join the Discord.